Right, this is going to be a little bit of a different video here on United People's TV. I just want to give you my opinion on something that, let's be honest, it's been going on for a good few years, but I just think the problem's getting worse, and that's Premier League corners. It genuinely is a joke. I want to run through a few things, speak about the problem, speak about a couple of solutions, and why I think it's necessary now. And also having a conversation about F1. Why I want to bring that into it. The reason I'm speaking about it this week is not because it's a problem just affecting Manchester United. It's affecting the entire league and the quality of the league, by the way. But it's just that we've got the most extreme example of it from what happened in that United game against Everton. One example of it there, another example of it there, another example of it there. Everton were just taking the piss. It really did feel like a Royal Rumble. I said that during the game. And it's zero surprise that Senny got himself man of the match because Everton... It was League Two. Not even League Two. Right? This is supposed to be the Premier League, the creme de la creme, the top of the top, the absolute elite. Of course, they're going to look for loopholes in the same way that a Premier League club's going to set its women's team, so it's not going to breach PSR rules. But these rules here, in my opinion, they've got to change. That reply there from Socrates, the actual Socrates, very philosophical. I actually agree with that as a potential solution. But the rules have got to change. Like Cobby after the game, jokingly laughing and saying it was the Royal Rumble. That's exactly what it felt like. And it just feels like, look, the architect of all of this is definitely going to be Arteta and Arsenal. Over the last few years, they realised what they can do, and they are the best at it. They have been the best at it. And this isn't a video to try and change a rule so that, Arsenal get a weapon taken away from them. No, you just take it out. It's like you don't need it in football. Like corners have always been part and parcel of the game. But Arsenal have been taking the piss with them. Wolves, another example here. Remember this one? Doherty just stood in front of Onana. There is zero protection for any goalkeeper anymore. You can just crowd around him. You can touch him. You can stand in front of him. You can not look at the ball. It doesn't really matter. You can wrap your arms around him. Nothing is going to happen. And it is almost impossible. I say almost impossible. Not impossible because a certain Senny Lamons got himself a man of the match and a clean sheet against Everton. But it feels like it's almost impossible. And it feels like it's at a crossroads now with the Premier League where they're going to have to bring in rule changes. Right? Set pieces, and Arsenal, again, I'm going to use them as an example of a really good set piece. Who's that? Timber, Kivior, Havertz at the back, running in towards the front post, getting the flick on. United can't control it. United can't defend it. That's a well-orchestrated set piece. This is not. This is not. This is using what I would currently say is a loophole in the Premier League ruling to their advantage. And the reason I wanted to bring up F1 as an example here is because every few years or so, Formula One, the rules change. This year in 2026, there's big changes that will affect all of the teams and how the races go and which teams have an advantage and which teams have a disadvantage. But the way that I'm looking at this now, right, is if you look, I've got a picture of David De Gea here, right, obviously. If you look at what the requirements were for a goalkeeper when we replaced De Gea, something that we all wanted was a keeper who was better at playing out from the back with the ball. Like De Gea's strengths, great at shot stopping, distribution was his downfall. And at that time, it felt like that was the goalkeeper that we needed. That's why we went after Onana. The less is said about him, the better. But now if you look at the actual strengths of a goalkeeper, I don't think people are looking at playing out from the back in the same way anymore. I think they're looking for a goalkeeper to be absolutely dominant within his own 6-yard box, to be able to somehow stand up to these sorts of ridiculous situations and somehow reach over the top and punch a corner out. If a few years ago, the requirements for a top-level Premier League goalkeeper was about distribution, playing out from the back, I think that's now completely changed. And just something has got to be done about this. Like one potential rule change you could have would be for there to be a limit or a ban on how many players could be inside. Now, I wouldn't say the 6-yard box, that's quite big, but within X amount of yards from the goalkeeper before the ball is touched on the corner flag. Before the kick actually happens, you can't crowd around the goalkeeper in the same way that they can now. How many players is that? 1, 2, 3, 4 Everton players within, 2 yards of him? Tarkowski trying to get in. It's just a joke, man. This is what I mean. It's supposed to be the Premier League, and every single week you see examples of that. Arsenal are the worst at it. Everton, they couldn't do anything on the pitch. You know what we should do, lads? Just knock the ball in, crowd the goalkeeper, just try and skank a goal out of it. And it's supposed to be the Premier League. And I just find it a bit frustrating, a bit annoying, and I think rule changes are needed. And you want to know another thing as well? VAR, geez, it's like modern football just become less and less connected with it. VAR has been brought in to make the spectacle better. It doesn't. You go through all these changes and all these rules that you bring in that makes it worse, and then you don't actually bring in a rule that could actually help improve the flow of the game, help improve how teams see set pieces. Set pieces have always been a weapon, right? I'm not saying take that away. I'm just saying remove the melees. Remove the ability for teams just to exploit what I would consider a loophole in the Premier League rules. And I'm kind of tired of seeing that just become part and parcel of what modern football is. It's all football clubs do it from a PSR and transfer perspective, as I said earlier in the video. Let's just sell our women's team so we can comply with the rules. That's not really how the rules work. That's exactly how Chelsea have built themselves as a football club. A lovely football club. But yeah, if you're going to spend all that time and all that money on VAR and doing it wrong, how about you actually, go and change the rules around corners and actually improve and help the game? What a crazy idea. I know, but look, I just wanted to get that off my chest. It's not, as I said, it's not a consequence of it just happened to Manchester United in that game against Everton. It's just that I think that game against Everton and the examples from it are so extreme that I think they can be used as the point where you go, right, maybe rule changes are needed, and that those examples will be used as a precedent for how things change as a consequence. I don't see any reason why this can't come in next season as a new rule, and I think it's needed. You can let me know what you think.